Welcome, beautiful soul. I am so happy to have you here. I always tell my clients and my students when you're looking for love, or when you want to leave a relationship, or when you're feeling stuck from meeting a relationship, the best thing that you can do is to learn these 5 steps that I am going to share with you today. Never leave a relationship before knowing this, and never try to jump into relationship to relationship before learning this either. And you understand why once I go over these 5 steps. My name is Julie Mullins. I'm an intuitive healer, spiritual teacher, and relationship coach. I am here to help you receive the love that you deserve. So, the first step into receiving all the love that you deserve is to get to the emotional root cause of the current blocks that you are experiencing. What is very common to happen is when we have conflict in a relationship, we consider the relationship to be toxic and we walk out of it, right? We're like, this is not for me, I'm walking out of this. And then what happens is if we walk out without understanding the emotional root cause of the triggers that we were experiencing, if we leave feeling like a victim, if we leave blaming the other person and not understanding how those things are actually happening for us and we could do something about it, if we walk away feeling that way like a victim, we end up recreating the same situation in a different person. And that's how patterns are created. It may feel empowering at the moment when we leave a relationship that we are considering to be toxic, but that doesn't last much when we meet the same person doing the same thing to us over and over again. So it's important that we understand the spiritual meaning behind relationships. So, our soul is here to grow and evolve. And it's through relationships that our soul will grow the most. Relationships will shine a light on wounds that we have. So, things from our past, if we felt abandoned, if we have a lot of programming on criticism, if we've been criticizing ourselves, we're going to have that reflected in our relationship because our partner is a mirror of what's going on within our energy. So we cannot run away from it, and we don't want to run away from it. What we want is to reclaim our power, reclaim the sole purpose of relationships. So no more running away. No more feeling like a victim. It's time that you get empowered to receive all the love that you deserve. So, when you get to the emotional root cause of the triggers that you experience in your relationships or the blocks that you experience in your relationships, then you get to change that within yourself. And 2 things happen when we do that. The person that we are with completely changes, or we end up no longer feeling attracted to them and they leave. Something will happen to detach from the relationship. But if you're in a relationship and even if you're like, I know this is not good for me, but there's some emotions that I'm attached to, like I don't know why I can't leave the relationship. Those are the emotional wounds. There are some emotions that you are still attached in the relationship because they are serving a purpose. So the way to detach, the way that we overcome this is to healing those wounds in ourselves. It is pointless. Everyone can tell us, leave the relationship, or you may have a friend you're like, I don't know why they're in that relationship. I try to tell them leave and they don't leave. It's because only they know what the relationship is doing for them, right? Imagine if you are fully satisfied, you just ate a full meal and you see like a piece of bread, you see breadcrumbs, like little pieces of bread. You're gonna look and you're like, oh, No, I don't want that. I'm full, right? But if you're starving, if you haven't eaten for days and you see those breadcrumbs, what are you gonna do? You're gonna be all over the breadcrumbs, right? And you may feel that the breadcrumbs are satisfying because in that moment you are starving, right? So that's the same thing that happens to us. If we don't heal the emotional root causes of our triggers, our wounds, our abandonment wounds, our criticism, whatever it is that we're experiencing, we are going to be attached to situations that are providing us with that emotional connection, right? Or if we don't recognize that we've been critical of ourselves and we see someone else criticizing us, we're not going to be able to identify that person as a mirror. So, a huge part of this work that I do is empowering you with knowing that your entire reality is a physical manifestation of your energy, your thoughts, your beliefs, and the energy that is in your electromagnetic field, okay? But what is important to know is nothing is your fault. A lot of these patterns, a lot of these thoughts, they were programmed into your energy up to the age of 7 years old. So how can this be your fault? This is something that I see happening a lot in the spiritual community is once you become aware that you manifest your reality and then you're manifesting things that you consider to be negative, then you blame yourself, right? Then you're like, wow, if I know all of this, why can't I manifest something that I actually love? But here's the trick. We never stop growing. So there will always be little things that we get to expand on. So the trick here is to see the obstacles as an opportunity to expand versus blaming ourselves. If you're in a relationship or you've been wanting a relationship and all the reflections that you're getting are someone is not prioritizing you. Every person that you meet is not prioritizing you. You know what that means? The universe is shining a light on you not prioritizing yourself in some area of your life. That's all that is. So it's time to move from things are happening to me and start to empower yourself with all of this is happening for me, because it truly is. Everything is happening for us. And I can't tell you how powerful this is, like the results that my clients are having in their relationships just by applying these 5 steps that I am going over with you here. It is like incredible. At the end of this month, I am going to a wedding in Portugal from one of the queens that was in my relationship program. How amazing is that? She went from him not fully committing to her to getting engaged really quick. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, all the magic that happens when we empower ourselves with these tools. So no more thinking that life is happening to you. And it's time to fully embody your power, fully understand that all of life is happening for you. And in relationships is where we get to grow the most. A lot of spiritual people tend to close their hearts after a certain amount of heartbreaks and disappointments because, I mean, it's a no-brainer, right? It's like, well, if I work on my self-love and I can have my peace and I can be productive in my job, why would I allow drama in my life? So we close our hearts. We build walls around relationships and we start to keep everyone out. Everyone that we consider to be a low frequency or people that don't have the same ideas that we have, or romantic relationships. But when we close our hearts, we are also missing out on all of these things, all of the beautiful lessons that we get to have that only relationships can provide. So if we can redefine our relationships, redefine the purpose, understand the sole purpose of relationships, we can cut the suffering, right? We can reduce it so much because we stop taking things personally. We are no longer being offended by things, being disappointed by things. We understand how we create things. So this is what we are doing here today, and I go in depth into all of this in my relationships program. And the 5 steps that I'm sharing with you today is exactly how I get my clients to get these beautiful results from healing their hearts all the way to manifesting their most fulfilling relationships. So, are you ready? Are you ready? So now that we've done this step 1 of getting to the emotional root cause and we took our power back, it's time to heal it. It's time to understand that we get to forgive people from the past. We get to choose new thoughts. We get to reprogram our beliefs, and we get to let go. We get to let go of anything in our energy that we are holding on to resentment. We get to let go of all the things in our heart that are still pending, making us feel like a victim. We get to let go of the pain. We get to keep the lesson, and we get to let go of the pain. So it's time to forgive, let go of the past. And the beautiful thing about forgiveness is that forgiveness is for us. It's not for the other person. A lot of times we think, well, but what they did is, I can't forgive what they did. It's not for them. So when you decide to forgive someone, you're not saying what you did was right. I can get over it. That's not what it is. You're not agreeing with what they did. It's trusting that whatever someone did to you, it is on their path to learn on their own way. So it's not up to you to teach them a lesson by holding on to the resentment and pain, because that's only hurting yourself. You get to trust that they will learn in their own way. They have their own unique soul path, and it's safe to let go. Let go of thinking of them. And you get to understand that if you align to be in that situation with someone that caused you pain, there was a lesson for you in it too. So you get to now start to see the beautiful lessons. You get to see the gifts in the situations from your past that hurt you, and start to acknowledge all that you have become because of those things. And then it becomes so much easier to forgive. So you're letting go. You're letting go of that resentment, that pain, that heaviness from your chest. You're trusting that they will learn their lessons on their own path. And you get to trust that you now get to live the embodiment of the frequency of love, send compassion their way, and let go. Let go of thinking of them, and let go of seeing yourself as a victim in the situation. Okay? So, after we got to the root cause, we've healed, we've let go, it's time to really empower ourselves, really connect to our higher selves, connect to our intuition, set strong boundaries, start prioritizing ourselves, connect to our unconditional worthiness, ditch the people pleasing, get to know who we are, right? Our authentic self, what we like. What is our authentic self-expression? Because the world is always influencing us in so many ways, and we get lost in relationships sometimes. We start living the other person's life. Like, I used to do that a lot when I was in a relationship. I'm like, oh, now I'm living their life. totally forget or not even want to do my own things. I'm like, oh, I just want to be right here. I blame it on my sign Cancer, being super emotional. Not that I'm into astrology that much, but I always blamed my emotional part to my sign. But anyways, you get to rediscover who you are, because without this part, without you truly connecting to your own intuition and your higher self, no relationship is going to give you what you're looking for, because we receive from relationships what we are giving to ourselves. So this is the secret, my loves. All the love, all the feeling seen, cherished, praised, understood, listened to, all of that we receive when we give those things to ourselves. And if you're like me, you probably grew up thinking it was the opposite, right? Oh, you get what you give, so you probably have been giving, and I'm like, I don't know what else I can do to please this person, to receive this love. And you're giving all your love, and all you're getting back is breadcrumbs. And you don't understand why. Well, this is why right here. This is why. I go in a lot of depth with this, like this whole process in my program, but it's just super important that you understand this right now. The world will give you what you give to yourself. You are unconditionally worthy, but it takes you to see it. It takes you to give that to yourself, that validation to yourself, for you to experience that externally, not only in romantic relationships, but all the triggers from your family, what you experience in career, it affects your entire life. This work here, my loves, is the most important work that you can do, is giving to yourself what you want to receive. There's nothing more important than this, because it's the foundation. Self-love, self-worth is the foundation of literally everything that you want in life, okay? So get on it. You're so worthy of receiving all those things, and you're gonna get it by giving to yourself. After we got to the root cause, we healed the past, we empowered ourselves, now it's time to get in alignment. What does that mean? Is getting into the vibrational match of the things that you want to experience. So you're going to reprogram your electromagnetic field. You're going to reprogram the thoughts, the beliefs, all the limiting stories about yourself and who you are, and you're going to start telling a new story about who you are, what you deserve, and what happens in your life, because what we believe to be true becomes true. All the things that you are experiencing right now in your life, they are just an extension of previous thoughts, beliefs, and energy. All the actions that you took based on those thoughts and beliefs, they're now your reality. Okay? So reality is actually malleable, right? All reality is a physical manifestation of previous thoughts, actions, energy, and beliefs. So you can always change, and it takes you to have this unwavering faith and knowing, not even faith, knowing that you are creating your life. You're designing the things that are happening for you, but not to blame yourself when something goes negative, but to see that you get to reprogram your subconscious limiting beliefs, right? It might not be your fault, and for sure it's not your fault that we all have those limiting beliefs programmed to us, but we get to change them from now on. So here is where we take this massive inventory into all those beliefs that are no longer serving us, like believing that all men are bad, believing that if you are from a specific culture, you're not good enough, believing that there's something about yourself that people aren't gonna take you serious. So it's time to get all those beliefs, all those things that are keeping us in alignment with that reality that we don't want to experience, and start to reprogram that so that we align with actually the things that we desire and deserve to have in our lives. For example, I used to have this limiting belief that I couldn't be too playful or sensual because people weren't gonna take me serious. And I was doing inner work around my feminine energy, around my creativity, and looking into things that were blocking myself in those areas. And it brought up these memories of when I first moved to the US. And every time I mentioned I was Brazilian, because I was born and raised in Brazil, and I lived in Los Angeles for 15 years. But when I first moved to the US, every time I mentioned I was Brazilian, I would get these reactions, especially from men, that were very gross, right? They would either like want to see how big my butt was, or just have like thoughts about Brazilians, and I could just sense that in the energy. So that made me kind of want to keep small and not be sensual, and kind of like not call too much attention to my body, or like kind of like just, keep serious so people would take me serious. And these memories, I wasn't even like conscious of them anymore. And when I was doing work to heal my feminine energy and unlock my sacral chakra and my creativity and my essence, my playfulness, those things came up and they were massively blocking me. So a lot of times we don't know those things are there until we start to do this work. So it's important that we clear all those lies, all those limitations, so that we get to embody our feminine essence, and we get to become this most authentic, magnetic version of ourselves, where we are like manifesting love on autopilot, right? Manifesting, receiving all the beautiful things because our hearts are open and we are in our essence. We're not like hiding, we're staying small, we're afraid, we're holding anything. Because if our lower chakras are not balanced, if we are creating these blocks with these old beliefs and limitations, then it's very hard for us to even enjoy our lives. You might have a relationship that looks good on paper, but you're not actually going to experience the fulfillment, because our fulfillment is in falling in love with ourselves, falling in love with our lives. And we can only experience that when we free ourselves from the limitations that the world projected onto us. Okay, so in this phase here, it's important that you connect to your highest levels of magnetism, your highest levels of alignment, so that you are manifesting on autopilot, which is our phase number 5, where we get to expand, where we get to start being very specific. Now that we know who we are in our power, we're not carrying any weight from the past, and we're not coming from a place of lack. Now we get to expand. Now we get to truly ask for what we want, because the wants are no longer coming from our ego and things that we thought were lacking. They're not coming from a place of, if I have a relationship, I'm no longer gonna feel lonely, or any limitation. It's gonna come from, I want a relationship because this will add greatly to my life, and I'm ready to master my own emotions, knowing that I am the only one responsible for how I feel. So I don't need to fear. I don't need to fear a relationship, because the triggers, I get to expand from them. There is a message behind the triggers, and now I know that. I know that I get to process my emotions and communicate from a place of love that is focused on solutions. So no need to fear relationships anymore. Now we get to manifest what we truly deserve and desire. We're going to get specific on what are the physical things that you want to experience in a relationship? What are the emotional things? What are the spiritual connection that you're choosing to have? What is the mental connection that you're choosing to have with your partner? Get very specific. What are the things that you want to create? And if you're already in a relationship, you can still do this work and expand within the relationship, right? To manifest even more of those beautiful things. And if you're not in a relationship, it's time to start feeling how expensive it is to be in a relationship without losing yourself. And also you're gonna see that everything that you want is already there. All the feelings that you desire in a relationship, they're already there in yourself. So you become a magnet to it, right? Nothing is coming from a place of lack, and you're just fully empowered in yourself to have the most fulfilling relationship. And this work, my loves, it applies for all areas of life. This is going to affect all areas of your life. So get down deep into these 5 steps. Get down deep into these 5 steps and fully give yourself permission to live your most fulfilling life and relationships, okay? And I want to invite you to join my relationships program to walk you through all these steps. This program is designed to walk you through with the biggest amount of love for yourself and for life. I believe that we get to go through this process with love and enjoying our lives, enjoying ourselves. It's not meant to be like a suffering journey like we hear sometimes when we're doing healing work. With the mindset that I'm going to bring to you and the perspectives that I'm going to awaken in your energy, you're going to start to see that it's a lot more simple. It gets to be more beautiful than we make it to be. With all the self-love layers and the beautiful unconditional worthiness that we work on this program, everything that we do will be I don't want to say painless, because yes, we do shed tears when we're releasing things, but it will be empowering in such a way that you're getting back to yourself. Every work that you do is bringing you back to yourself, and that's gonna feel so good. So if you're ready to dive on this journey with me, go check out the modules, all the magic that's happening in there for you. Check out the beautiful results from my clients and students, and I can't wait to hear your testimonial when you go through this program with your beautiful transformations. I can't wait to see all the magic that's going to unfold for you. Okay, so dive in there. I'll see you in the program.